her time as French finance minister nearly a decade ago. Well, to talk more about that case and that verdict, I'm joined in the studio by Eduard Salsas from the law firm Squire, Patton and Boggs. Thank you for being with us on France 24 tonight. Now, Christine Lagarde was found guilty, but she was allowed to leave the country before the verdict had even been reached. Is that unusual?
It can happen that somebody who's facing charges, criminal charges, may be allowed to leave the country, especially if she has an important role, such as the president of the IMF, if there's no risk that this person will try to avoid the potential sentence that will be issued by the tribunal.
Because theoretically, she could have been sentenced to a year in jail.
Yes, she could have been sentenced to a year of imprisonment. She was facing, she was risking 1 year imprisonment and 15,000 euros fine. Finally, she did not get this sentence. She was found guilty, but there was no sentence against her, and she does not get any mention in her criminal record.
So no criminal record. Is that again because of her position as the head of the IMF, or is that something to do with the details of the case?
It's a consideration that the Court of Justice of the Republic, they took into account the work that was being carried out at the ministry at that time, and they considered that while she was found negligent when taking the second decision, not commencing annulment proceedings against the sadly famous arbitral award, the workload at the ministry would justify that she would not get this sentence.
And explain to us a bit about this court, because it's not a usual court, is it? It's made up of former politicians.
It's a special court which is only dedicated to proceedings against ministers. So it's composed by 3 judges and then 12 MPs, 6 senators and 6 MPs, and then it only rules on alleged crimes or offences committed by ministers in their exercise of their functions or of their duties as ministers, as members of the government.
But it differs from the trial of the Cahuzac last week, of course.
Yes, of course, because the Cahuzac case was he was a minister, but he was acting as a private person, so he was trialed as a private person, while Mrs. Lagarde was being tried by her decisions taken as Minister of Finance, not as a private person.
Some people say that means that there is some kind of 2-tier justice system in France. Would you agree with that?
Some people think that it is a privilege to be judged by this court, and I believe that it's actually not, because Mrs. Lagarde does not have an appeal, cannot lodge an appeal against this decision. She can only go to the Supreme Court, to the French Cour de Cassation, and the merits of the case cannot be reviewed. It will only, if she decides to go to the Cour de Cassation, which is not obvious. Her lawyer has not said that they were going to do this, at least for the moment. Only the legal conditions, the formal conditions of the decision of the Cour de Justice de la République will be reviewed.
All right, Eduard Salsas, thank you very much indeed for explaining that to us. Now to China, where at least